Hello, welcome to Top Quadrants Quick Grok video. Today we will talk about setting up TopBraid EDG enumerations. I'm going to switch to TopBraid EDG. When you're working with asset collections based on TopBraid EDG ontologies such as data assets, requirements assets, glossaries, technical assets, enterprise assets, and so on, some of the fields are relying on pre-built set of enumerated values. For example, I'm going to a data asset collection cataloging Northwind, and a famous database. And here you see some columns, tables, etc. So when we look at this, one of the fields is status. And other assets in Edge have statuses too. For example, glossary terms, reports, pretty much everything has a status. So you see a controlled list of statuses. That's one example of so-called edge enumeration. Another example field would be something like confidentiality. So level of confidentiality. Here you don't see any selections, but they would also come from so-called pre-built enumerations. Another example would be personal data category. You see a number of categories to pick from. So where do those values come from? They come from an asset collection called TopBraid EDG Enumerations. There is a single asset collection, so it's also known as a singleton. And each time you create any asset collection based on TopBraid ontologies, such as glossaries or such as data asset collection, this enumeration singleton will be included. So I'm going to go to it now, and we'll see what's available here. So you see a number of classes or types of controlled values, and then you see the controlled values themselves. And these are available in the drop-down. Some of them are populated here, some of them empty. If you decide that you want to have some other kind of control values that you want to have available to all asset collections, you could go here and create a new type by just simply clicking here and creating a new type. And then you could enter new values. For example, authentication method, maybe you are using some. And now this value will be available every place that is based on edge ontologies. Another approach for populating this list is actually running import. And there is a special import that is built in that's called Enumeration Batch Importer. And of course, you could just import spreadsheets, and you could import RDF file if you have those values. And as we've shown, you could just create them by manually entering them. So this enumeration batch importer, what it does, it provides you with a list of files in your TopBraid EDG workspace that have some pre-built enumerations. And you could see what files are available and what kind of values they contain. For example, this code list has some confidentiality levels and government classified information systems types. So you could click on any of those. You could select multiple and select to import them. And this will say, okay, these are your selections. You could use this button to replace if you already have entered some values already for those categories and want to replace them. And then you perform import, and it imports information. And if you look into it, you'll see that now confidentiality level would have some values. So these are some default files with some pre-built values for you to get started with. You could load them, and then you could configure them further. For example, you may delete some of them because these are not the value you want. You could add your own values, etc. So that's an Edge enumeration collection that holds these commonly used controlled values. Another way to get to this enumeration collection, remember we got to it by clicking on one of the values that I've already assigned, the status value, and then we clicked through. But initially when you set up TopBraid Edge, you need to be an administrator, and then you go to the server administration console and you go to Edge configuration parameters. And one of the configuration parameter option is the setup Edge enumerations. And that brings you to the same place that I just was, where you could load those controlled values that would be used consistently across all asset collections. Thank you for watching this video.